Hello, my name is Jeff Hayes, and this video is Oklahoma's acknowledged guilt. And we'll start to show you. They can't help but acknowledge it after all the evidence. Here's two gentlemen. I don't envy their job. They've got an uphill climb. It's all uphill to get this state where they would like it to be. They're probably going to have to go against a lot of opposition and the old ways of doing things around here. Now I'm going to tell you one thing. This is something I tell everybody. I would not have believed anything like this would happen in this day and age if anybody had told me the same thing that I've been telling people on my videos until it actually happened to me. But I have shown irrefutable proof on every one of the videos. So even Oklahoma can't but acknowledge it. Now here we have all the different positions. I didn't go through a whole bunch, but my point is that these individuals have to take an oath or two oaths. So they're swearing something. And a judge has to take two of them. Everybody in office takes the oath of office according to the Oklahoma Constitution, and we'll get to this grand jury thing with the COJC. And the OCCA is supposed to be, their job is to review cases that have filed for an appeal. And that means going through the evidence, making sure that all the procedures were going properly, done, and to find if the evidence actually followed Title 21 crimes and punishments. But it wasn't until 5/11, either 2018 or 17, where Wallace Copeland informed me that the judges here won't overturn another judge's decision or verdict in the state of Oklahoma. And I was like, what? Now here is the exact role of a judge, and I use the wiki because I wanted to make sure that these are actually, and I'm not making it up. I'm not one of these people that grandstands something and says, well, they should be doing this, they should be doing that. This is the actual thing, and I'm sure it's in every elected judges or appointed judges, handbook. I'm assuming they're reading a handbook. I know they have a judge's canon. They also have a swear an oath of office and, a Title 28 for judges. Now here in a little bit we're going to review this, where I'm going to highlight some stuff, point out some things. So this is just to show you I didn't make any of this up. This came out of wiki. You type in the role of a judge and it'll tell you the same thing. It'll come up with this and different other types of judges. I really didn't think this would go on this long. I figured somebody'd step forward and help clear this up, but no. Okay, here's where it states the first thing. They have to be impartial, fair, unbiased, and follow the laws of the state they're in, the United States Constitution, and the Constitution of whatever state they are in. Well, throw all that out the window. They didn't even follow any laws. They didn't even care about the Title 21 punishments and crimes. The judge must be impartial, strive to interpret, and these are laws that are like, not updated because technology or people's beliefs or something like that. The judge must also decide whether there's enough evidence to support a reasonable belief that a crime has occurred, and also the person that in question committed it. See, this is not the DA's fault if she prosecutes or he prosecutes the wrong trial. It's the judge who's supposed to put a stop to it, put the reins on that person, and say, listen, this is a felony case. There's not enough evidence, or there's not enough evidence to support anything. This is all circumstantial, hearsay, and you have to have facts. Okay, and then we get down to where it says, in addition, that's highlighted, judges are able to go against precedents, which Wallace Copeland was not willing to do. He didn't want Campbell to think he didn't like him, so he went ahead and violated the both oaths he took up for office to help Campbell, who violated both oaths he took for office. Now this is the DA's mission statement here. I thought it was funny because from my experience being in Bryan County and all this is what I've come to believe. Oklahoma's prosecutors and judges' credo: we haven't met an innocent person that we didn't convict. That's right, that's me. The whole time I was waiting for them to say, hey, we made a mistake, sorry, all this other stuff. And they just went forward with it. But I told Clark, I said, as soon as I get out, people are going to find out about this. This is the oath every lawyer in Oklahoma swears. And it states right there, will do no falsehood or consent to any be done in court. Well, that was violated. And DAs have to take an oath of office also. And we're going to get to that here in a second. And every official that takes office in Oklahoma has to swear this oath. This is the oath of office by Oklahoma Constitution. See, nobody follows the Constitution in the state. It states there, defend, obey the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of America, or Oklahoma. And that's thrown out the window. Here it tells like if they're that they can forfeit their office and all this other stuff. And then it says representatives, they take their oaths in certain places. Now for judges, they take this oath and then they take the Title 28 because they're a judge and it falls underneath the federal because they're doing felony cases and stuff like this here in Oklahoma. This is one they have to swear to also, because the Constitution talks about all judges in the United States. That is imperative they follow the law of the land. And apparently they don't do that here. You'll get a closer look at it. You can also look it up, Title 28. You can Google it. So all these people aren't just thrown into office and, call this. They have to swear an oath, and somebody is administering the oath. So they actually have to say it, from my understanding. It's an oath, and they have to swear it, so that means they have to repeat it. It's not just something they sign, and you notice it says here to respect persons, whether they're rich or poor. So if you ever get caught for failure to pay a fine, if you're unable to pay a fine, you tell them, because if you're not failing to pay a fine, you're just unable, and they can't prosecute you for being poor. I told my attorney when they brought this failure to pay a fine in front of me, I said, I want you guys to know that I understand the difference between unable to pay it and refusing to pay it. And if he prosecutes me on this, because I've shown him every step of the way that I've been trying my best to pay this, and they throw me in prison, that's discrimination. And since the COVID-19 is going on, if you take me out of my safe place and put me in prison, I'm going to file felony life endangerment charges against Campbell while I'm in prison. You can count on that. Because this whole thing's bull. I didn't commit any crimes to start with, and here I'm being harassed and threatened with 6 years in prison. Wallace Copeland, this is where 511, he makes his statement for the first 15 minutes of the case, and I'm pretty sure they altered the transcripts, but he telling me no judge has ever overturned another judge's decision since the beginning of Oklahoma, which I find that, like, are you sure? You guys are violating all kinds of felony, federal, and all kinds of stuff. And this is where he said that they were worried about whether or not another judge liked them or not instead of doing their job. I was like, really? And I already knew he was going to side with Campbell. So here's the guy that sides with Campbell, who is violated everything that he's sworn and the office that he holds. To Campbell, who violated his office, everything it stood for, and the 2 oaths that he did. Now this is, I think, 2018. That because of a verdict he gave during a rape case. I couldn't believe it either when I read it. So you have one judge that's convicting innocent people of crimes they didn't commit, and you have another one that's letting people who tie up and rape 13-year-olds go on probation. And then the assistant prosecutor resigns after it hits the paper. If it wouldn't have hit the paper, he would have never resigned. And come to find out that after they unseated him, he was going to file and then run again for election to his judges thing. Now this is what I don't understand, people of Oklahoma or Oklahoma, is other states and businesses look at this stuff. I mean, if you're not doing anything wrong, then who cares what anybody thinks about you? But this stuff right here, you don't have anything to any kind of system to go into place to correct this. I mean, this is what you're being evaluated on. Because if you don't do anything about it, or if you don't prevent it from happening again, I mean, everybody's standing around watching to see what you're going to do next. And it's like, when I first started my YouTube channel, I only had about 100 subscribers. Ever since I started posting this stuff, it went up to 200, close to 250. And they're not all there just to watch the videos. Because there's a video that I'm going to mention here later on that I had to use it to give it to the law firms. I went to every law firm in the United States outside of Oklahoma to see if they could take the case. And each one of them said that I had a case. It's just that the statute of limitations. And I burned that up by going through the regular system, which I should have never done. I should have just grabbed one of these firms right when I got out of from Avalon and filed my case in. So for those of you that are listening, if anything like this happens to you, don't go through the regular channels. Just get an attorney. If it's something against the state or something, get a law firm that can operate in Oklahoma but isn't based in Oklahoma. Because all attorneys here will tell you it's a conflict of interest. They won't take the case. None went through that. These people here, even if they weren't party to what Campbell and Redmond were up to, they're still guilty from not reviewing the evidence and the case. They failed to do their jobs. They violated their oaths. They violated the Constitution of the United States, violated the Constitution of Oklahoma, and the state's laws that govern this. The state's grand jury, it's not, the Council on Judicial Complaints, it's not the same, because in states that have a grand jury, felony charges can't be brought against anybody until the DA and the person's attorney go before the grand jury and present their case. The grand jury decides on whether or not a felony can be applied to that person. The COJC, if they're acting after it's done, they're not going to be able to help it. Oklahoma needs a grand jury. But first they need to get their judges' priorities straight. And this would cut down a lot of this deceitful and criminal activity of some of these judges. So, Hope this is helpful to you. These two people and the members of the OCCA, in my opinion, should be locked up and charged with treason because they violated the Constitution of the United States. They violated the Constitution of Oklahoma. They violated its laws. They violated people's civil rights and federal rights. And everything they did just undermined the whole United States justice system. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now here's where Oklahoma becomes liable, because you can't prosecute the judges by the way that it's set up, and you can't do anything hardly to the DA, but the state can be held liable because it allowed these people to gain their offices, hold their offices, and commit crimes against American citizens in the name of that state. Because the state, all its agencies are in place to protect the state from such people gaining office and making wrongful decisions does not work. The COJC should have been able to stop Campbell, but it didn't. It's got no teeth, and I don't know why. They're either unwilling to do their job or for some reason sworn not to do it. I don't know. All I know is it doesn't do what it says they're supposed to do. And so there's no system or committee in place to prevent this kind of stuff happening to anybody. That happened to me. There's no evidence. The Court of Appellate Court willfully, knowingly, and unlawfully, I can say, didn't do their jobs at all. Now this is what people's overall are getting when they see cases like this. Campbell's aspect is bribes from companies managed by deceitful people, demonstrating that the court can be bought. Innocent people can be arrested, framed, forced to pay extortion, prosecuted, and everything. And people look at this, okay, business as usual in Oklahoma. As for Wallace Copeland, his verdict shows people that Oklahoma doesn't have a lot of priority for people who, just read this, it'll tell you the whole thing. And this is what I got from it, from my personal experience with my case and what I read about this other case. You know, and besides, who knows, maybe they were able to run for judicial or something in a couple of years. I wouldn't doubt it. Now this breaks down Oklahoma acknowledged guilt. There's no denying that crimes were committed against me. And this is where it states, on all my paperwork it says the state of Oklahoma. It doesn't say Mark Campbell versus Jeff Hayes. It doesn't say Emily Redmond versus, it says the state of Oklahoma. So somewhere along the line, somebody's got to be held responsible for all this. This is basically what I had to endure. You know, and I still got 2 felonies on my record that are wrongful. So there's a continuing loss of income. Defamation of character, slander, you know, and there's nothing that anybody in Oklahoma can refute any of the videos that show the evidence of wrongdoing. So this is the fact of committing a specific crime. So if you can't refute it or rebuttal it, then you acknowledge that the crime was committed. You're just not doing anything about it, which other people, companies, and states and are looking at going, well, okay, this is overwhelming, irrefutable evidence. This is what I said, the one video. The 60 viewers on it are from law firms within the United States. And like I said, after I started posting this stuff, that's when my subscribers to my channel went up by almost 150. I don't know I don't even know who they all are. It just tells me my subscribers. It doesn't tell me who they are, screen names or anything. There's no telling what the real motive for subscribing, but it started when I started posting these. You know, and this goes into depth about so people know. Now, if you're doing things right, then who cares about what they think? But if you're doing things like this, you should care if you ever want to get this state up to where the governor wants to put it. Because all this stuff, by putting it off, it's just going to make it look worse and worse and worse. And even if I do relocate, and I can't afford to relocate, I know I'm being blacklisted. You know, this is a local thing going on. Plus I'm locked out of jobs because of the wrongful felonies on my record. But even if I do finally relocate to a different state, it'll be a state that follows, you know, they're actually Americans that running it that care about their state and care about their residents and American citizens. And since I don't have any criminal background other than this fraudulent one that Oklahoma put on me, I'm sure I could find asylum. They still got states like that. Because I don't have a criminal background. I don't commit crimes. I am a productive citizen of my community. I do have something to offer, both in education, training, know-how, skill, right and wrong. So this is a message. I'm reiterating this, the same message that you're giving everybody who's watching you. And it doesn't really make a difference to me. It's your reputation as a state, not mine. And it's who you allow to represent you, if they wrongly represent you, then you need to do something about it as soon as possible to let others know that this is not how you run your state. If you don't do anything about it, then people come that this is how Oklahoma runs its state. I mean, here they are doing charges against innocent people and letting rapists go with probation. I mean, this is what you're telling the rest of America and the rest of the world that's paying attention to this. If this is what you want them to actually think about your state, fine. But even if I move to another state, I'm still going to have reminders until this is actually cleared up as it should have been and should have never happened. Nobody should have knocked on my door the 17th of June 2014, let alone arrest me, and let alone carry it this far. And I'm not going to pay out of my pocket to have this stuff done or removed from my record. I didn't put it on there. I didn't go down to these people and ask them to arrest me, to file phony charges against me, or anything. I was abducted from my house, held against my will, and wrongfully prosecuted, incarcerated, convicted, and wrongfully sentenced. And all the agencies and systems and members that are in place to stop it failed to do their jobs. And the evidence is so obvious. It doesn't even come close to the charges. There's not enough evidence there to arrest me for a misdemeanor on anything. So, for those of you that want to know, and for those of you that do know or acknowledged guilt, here's some backup material viewing. You'll see where you went wrong and see where you should have stopped it. Maybe better luck next time, but until this is rectified by the state of Oklahoma, you're still going to be hearing about it regardless. I plan on living another 400 years. I'm spiteful that way. No, but serious. If this is not what you want to be your state known for, then you need to take care of this. You need to rectify it, make sure things are in place to keep it from happening again, and take care of what's already happened. I mean, an honorable and person of integrity couldn't call themselves an honorable person of integrity unless they fixed this, or if they believed in their faith. So I hope this has been helpful. Y'all have a nice day now.